Yep, we play.
I'm doing good. How you doing?
You got the biggest and the brightest smile. I love it.
Thank you.
I know I can be a little silly. No, I can be a lot silly. Did you happen to get a text from Dr. Fight?
I'm not silly too.
Did you get happen to get a text from Dr. Fight?
Yes, I did. That is my man. I love that guy.
You know what? He's on with us on Mondays, and I love him too. So
that's my man.
Yeah.
He is a strong supporter, and he stays connected with me. Rather we see each other or not, he's always there for me. You know, that's very important.
And you know what? And I think he's watching you right now too. So he's on my live. So I think he's watching you. Yeah. You see him up there?
You watching the show?
Yep, he is. He said my guy gonna be on there. I was like, yep, he's gonna be on here today.
Man, his smile is infectious. It is like,
you can't see Brianna, but she says your smile is infectious. You have one of the best smiles. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep up with this dental plan we got going on.
well, it's working out for you.
But Brianna said it's working out for you. So we gotta talk about it. You classify yourself as a Christian hip hop artist. You know that's a mouthful, right?
Yes, it is.
So tell me, how did you get into Christian hip hop?
My life changed, you know. So I was doing secular music. It's 2001, and then you know when I answered the call and received Christ as my Lord and Savior, and decided to let Him do whatever He wanted with me, and to glorify and honor Him, my message had to change just as long as my heart and my message had to change.
So
that was like 5 years ago.
So what was that moment like? What were you experiencing? I'm just being a little inquisitive. So what was that moment like that changed? Okay. That changed, that you said, I'm going to accept Christ. What was that moment? Or what was going on before?
I was going to jail a lot. Well, I went to jail like 3 times. I had a DUI. I lost my job, and everything around me was just fading away. I was by myself, and there became a time where I felt like so lonely, and I was actually at rock bottom in a real way. And so that's what rock bottom is. Not just t-shirts, it's not just a hat, it's not just an album. It was an actual real experience. And I was in my basement, I'll never forget, and I woke up crying, and I was scared. I was like, man, what is going on? And then immediately I heard a voice, and I went to the bathroom, and I said, God, whatever it is that I need to do, I need you to just tell me what I need to do. I need you to save me. And I had been in church all my life, like with my grandmother, my mother, and we were going to church every Sunday, Bible study every Wednesday. And I thought when I went to the altar and repeated the words that the pastor said, you know, do you believe Jesus Christ died, or, you know, and rose on the third day. When you say that in church, you're thinking automatically that you're good.
Ooh, okay.
And to discover 5 years ago, I didn't know Christ at all. And I was in my basement when I gave him my life.
You know, do you find that story often? Because I will say the same thing. That there are times you do certain things, but there comes a point where you know what, that you do feel so stressed, and you have no understanding as to where you're going. So that's when God said, now you got to turn to me. Now you need to talk to me. And do you think that everybody? No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So do you find you hear those stories quite a bit from people that are really developing a relationship with God? Because I feel like everybody has their own personal relationship with Christ.
Yes. And it's actually the ones that are truly seeking a real relationship with God and that are true followers of God. And what I've discovered, though, is that a lot of people think they're okay and they're not. Like, a lot of people think just because they religiously do things that they know Christ, or it plainly says that Christ said in that day, there were many that come to me and say, Lord, Lord, didn't we do many miracles and all of these other things? And these are people that profess and claim him to know him. And he said that I will plainly say to you, depart from me, I never knew you, you workers of lawlessness. And that's so scary, because you could be deceived your whole entire life thinking that you're going to heaven. Or that you have a real relationship with him, and you do not, just because you do things religiously. Right.
I say
and it sometimes I see that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I see that so many times. So people are in church and they think if they're on the usher board or they're in the choir, and so sometimes they make people who say, I come to church but I don't really do things within the church. So then they make people feel bad because they're not doing work within the church.
Right.
And I always said, because I'm gonna be honest, I said, I don't do that much in the church. You know, I do my birthday program, but I know that I have my own relationship with Christ. So I don't allow anybody to make me feel bad because I don't do other things.
But you still do certain things in the church.
I do certain things if I'm asked to do certain things.
Right, like I'm a Sunday school teacher, and even for me, I still don't feel like that's enough for what I do in the church, but I don't predicate what I teach in Sunday school as me going to heaven.
Exactly.
And a lot of people in the church, they do that. They're like, well, I'm on the usher board, I'm in the choir, so I'm going to heaven. No.
Yeah, because
that's not what that means. And it's like heaven is a reward.
Yes.
And here on earth, we are. God doesn't owe us anything. You know, it's sometimes people think that because they do certain things, like we're doing God a favor. Like,
I never thought
as if he needed anything from us. No, we are the ones that's supposed to. He is the reason that we live, move, and have our being. The reason that I can breathe.
Yep.
The reason I can have a job. The reason I can come worship. The reason I can praise. Everything that is about me that we take for granted, we owe God that.
I agree with you.
And that's here on earth.
So do you put that message in your music? What is the message that you want people to take from your music?
I'm very transparent. I tell you more about my struggles rather than all the successes.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Because we can get wrapped up and think that God saved us to be successful. You know, for instance, you know, when Jesus told him, he said that you will deny me. You know, he said that Satan has asked to sift you like wheat. And he said, when you return, he said, but I prayed for you. He didn't say, I didn't tell you that. He didn't say, I didn't tell Satan not to touch you or anything like that. He said, I prayed for you, that your faith fail you not.
Okay.
And when you turn, your brother, encourage your brother. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Turn back sources and say, look at me. I'm a Stellar Award nominee. My song's on the radio. I got a clothing line.
Okay.
Oh man, we're doing really good, man. We're like people buying it all over the country right now. No, I'm gonna tell you how good God is throughout that struggle, and through that struggle, there is there is redemption. There is healing. It's not just prosperity. He saved us, man. He saved us from ourselves. He saved us from hell. He saved us from our wrath. So I let you know that all that other stuff is just like just an extra blessing.
So since you mentioned that you are a Stellar Award nominee, what does that feel like to you?
Humbling. Yes. Because I don't know, I guess God allowed me to see so much and go through so much that when he does something for me, I'm so grateful. And I know that at any minute, once I think that I'm the reason that I'm there, he can take it away from me, you know?
See, I agree with you. I do feel that way too. I never want to say I did this, I do so and so. I say whatever I do, I say it's because God allows me to do it. So I mean, I wasn't always that way either, but you know, when things happen in your life, I was arrogant back in the day, probably at some point. But here it is now this time in my life, and I share my story too. I said people don't understand what it's like, you know, when I was telling people I was married for like 30 years, and you know, it's coming up on 2 years my husband passed away. You know, was never ill, just got sick one time, and less than a year later he was gone. You know. And so when you have to deal with that, and it's like your life no longer exists as it was. And so now you have to, you know, okay, God, what you want me to do with this? Because you know that was my feeling the whole way through this. You know, I can't do this. You know, I don't know what you want me to do with this. You know, and I tell people, I said, even through all of my struggles, even before that, he has stood by me every time. Every time I've been down, even though sometimes you do stuff and you say, okay, I'm being punished. I'm taking my licks because I deserved it. But he still never let me fall. He still was right to holding me up, even though I was being disciplined at a certain point. You know.
Yes, and God disciplined those he loved.
Yes, and I said, God, you must really love me, because
and I love that. Right, me too, because he whooped me a whole lot. I get scared when he don't do nothing. You know?
I said, I tell you, I said, now you don't really want God to have to discipline you, because that's not gonna feel good. You know, I think I'd rather have my mother spanking you all them years ago when you got them butt whoopings. Cause woo!
No, I don't want that either.
Yeah,
I had one from God and you on my path.
Yeah, that whooping from God is something you like, whoa, hold up, let me stop, pause.
No, it stopped you in your tracks.
Yeah, God, let me have a conversation with you, cause I don't want to misstep. You know, I don't want that. So
and that's a relationship. I love it.
Well, I've been working on mine, so I tell people all the time, I can't speak for you. I can only speak on my relationship with God. You have to develop your own. So I try not to criticize, but if you watch me, I do criticize people a lot, but I don't mean to, but I just...
You criticize people who deserve it.
I have to ask
you. Say you will know them by their fruits.
Listen, I have to ask you this. This is kind of important. I have to ask you this question. What do you think, what is your take on what's been going on within our community, especially with this last killing by this police officer? What is your take on that?
I lost you there for a minute. Say that again.
I said, what is your take on what's been happening in our community within these racial killings, especially this last one with the police officer?
It's.
I know it's tough. I know.
I hate it.
Yeah.
It's really tough, and it's been going on forever. And I think it needs to get to a point where we take what's going on serious.
Okay.
Us as individuals, though, because what I see a lot of times is that we as black people, we get riled up by a whole lot, and then once we get entertained by certain things, we'll calm back down until something else happens. And this is what I say a lot. There was something that happened down here in South Carolina. They were having a party down in Union, South Carolina, and 5 young people got shot.
Woo!
No, 7 got shot, and 2 died. a 17-year-old, and a 21-year-old.